smart, Mickey. I want you to know. But you know something? There's some people who say that little sting on the bottom might change a kid's life. In other words, it might be a little bit more discipline in school, might learn a little bit more respect, and who knows, might get a better education. But that's an awful lot of controversy. What we're talking about today is chaos in the classroom. Joining us now is Vilma Leak. She has been a teacher for 30 years now, and she's the president of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Association of Educators down in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, for Vilma, the final straw in her life came when she received a student's drawing of herself in a noose.
That's right.
Vilma, you took this as a threat, a major threat.
I certainly did.
How did you come upon this?
Well, what happened that day in the classroom, the student was very upset with some other students and some directions that I had given him for his work. So when the class was dismissed to leave the classroom, one of the students gave me the paper that was left on his desk and said, "This was for me," stating me. There was a picture of me with a noose around my neck with my name on it. Also, it stated, "I'm going to kill you." This is what the student stated. And it was very frightening for me, knowing that I had to come each, didn't know when he was going to try to do this, didn't know how truthful he was with the process of what he was going to do. So I took out a warrant against the student, but I was advised not to do that, and that disturbed me greatly.
Wait a minute.
As a teacher in the classroom.
Who advised you not to do that?
Well, some administrators in the building thought it would be best that we try to work this out, and I didn't think it was workable because of the statement and the accusation that was made to me, the teacher who had to be in contact with the student daily. So I was frightened. I was really afraid.
Tell me about that, because it seems to me that anybody who cares about, especially an administration who's supposed to support you, would be very sensitive to the amount of fear that you were living with. What type, I mean, tell me what that fear was like after.
Well, let me say this to you. It was frightening to the point that I was almost afraid to go home. I was afraid that for the students to come back to class the following day, which he did do. He was arrested, but he was brought back to school until time for trial. And during the process of the trial period, I received several telephone calls of threats. The mother actually contacted me and wanted to know why would I do this to her son.
What?
This was stated over the telephone with a call-in show that was going on, and it was still frightening to have to go to school, have to confront this student with continuing to work. We proceeded to go to court. I was determined that I would not, and no other teacher would have to go through this again, hopefully. So when we went to court, I presented my position and what had transpired, and I was appalled at the judge. I was appalled at the attorney, stating to me, "Are you sure that he meant this for you? And did he put it in your hands? And he really did not mean that?" And it was as if I were on trial and not the person who had actually done the threatening, and that's what frightened me.
What bothers me is you have a mother who seems like she would want to be concerned about what her son is doing.
Exactly.
Was there ever any situation where the mother said, "Wait a minute, let's sit down with this kid. What is my kid doing?" Because so many times people say that the parents are the first ones to get in the way of discipline.
Well, she never came to me to talk with me as teacher, parent, to talk about it, see if we could resolve the situation.
Right.
And probably if she had, we probably could have worked out a situation that would have not ended as it did.
How did it end?
Well, the charges were dismissed as if it had never happened again. He had an attorney, and I was very sad that the parent had to employ an attorney. I didn't want that to happen. But again, the safety for me and other teachers in the building across the district and across the country, that we would have to have this kind of fear, and I hope that we don't have to have this kind of fear anymore.
So when the kid was let off, obviously you could not prove that it was a real threat. That must have been, is that why the courts let
that was the issue. Was it really a threat? This is what the defending attorney said to me. "Are you sure? Do you believe?" And I still said, "Sir, I'm not on trial. I did not draw a picture of this young man. Had I done that, I would have been in jail. I would have lost my job. I could not be a teacher anymore, what I enjoy doing and love doing and still do today." So I felt that there needed to be equal treatment in the process.
Let me ask you a question. Did they publish the little student's name?
This was in the paper after the trial was carried out. And let me say this to you. When the trial ended and said the charges would be dismissed, this young man walked past me, put his hat on and said, "I told you so."
Yes.
Well, I had problems with that. I had problems
When we
with that.
come back, we're going to talk more about this because the hush-hushness when there are problems like this only perpetuate it. Mickey, I know you agree with this, and Loretta, I see you shaking your heads too. Also, we're going to update you on a story that I know it shocked me, shocked so many of us, and it still rings in my ear. How could this happen to this little girl? Nina was just 4 years old when her teacher sent her parents a note. Like many teachers send parents home notes. But this time, this note was written on this child's face in a black magic marker. Took the family days to get it off. What has happened to that family? What has happened to that child? We'll find out right after this.
All the children were laughing.
The children were laughing at you? And what did that make you feel like inside?
They're happy.